friend Roger Christopherson here again with another first listen review. Finally getting around to babbling about this one, talking about the Who's new Super Deluxe box set, Who Are You? If you like this type of stuff and, just sitting around chit-chatting about music, giving our opinions, talking about bands that we love, and just leaving comments about what you love about this type of stuff, this is a place for you. If it's not the type of stuff you're into, I don't know what to tell you, because that's what we do here. Anyway, I was going to do this one over the weekend. Unfortunately, whenever I order anything from Amazon, it always seems to show up late. Same thing happened here, so didn't get it till Saturday, middle of the day. And of course, there's a lot of stuff going on here, so it took me a while to get through it all. So it's kind of hard to do a review on something until you get the chance to listen to it all. So finally got that done, but I didn't want to pass this one up because this is my absolute favorite band in the world. This is one of these bands that it is the band that got me into music. It just opened up a whole new world for me. I didn't really discover The Who until 1982. That's when I really found them. I remember sitting there listening to their final performance in Madison Square Gardens. Not Madison Square Gardens, the Maple Leaf Gardens. Sorry, up in Toronto. I recorded off the radio, and I just remember listening to that tape over and over and over and over and over again. I just absolutely loved everything about that and just had to get everything they had done from that point on. So for me, it was like I found them during the very end of the Kenny Jones era and kind of went backwards. And this album here, Who Are You, is the very beginning of the Kenny Jones era, not the album itself, but as we all know, Keith Moon passed away just shortly after this album was released. And so there's some of that stuff in this box set with Kenny Jones in here. So, it was an interesting thing for me. I was really looking forward to this one. I found it kind of an odd timing for this to be released because it's actually 50 years from Who by Numbers right now. So this deluxe box set's 47 years. So it's just an odd thing for a record label to do. So hopefully we'll get a Who by Numbers one. I wouldn't mind that myself. I love everything I can possibly get my hands on with these guys, so, but not complaining, just saying it was weird. But anyway, so when I finally got a chance to listen to this, I did what I normally do. I've heard, the album itself, the original album, I can't tell you how many times, so I skipped right over that one, right to the bonus stuff, because that's what I normally do when I get these things. And went to what they're calling the Glyn Johns mix. And what this is, it's not the entire album that he mixed on here, but I guess it's, there's a big book in here that kind of explains this a little bit better than I'm going to. I haven't had a chance to read through the whole thing. I went through some of the notes in there about each disc, but I didn't read the whole forward or anything. It's a lot. It's an awesome book. It's totally worth it. This box set wasn't too expensive compared to some of the other stuff I bought from them. It was only 125, 130 bucks, something like that. I don't remember exactly now, but not too bad. But anyway, that's only like seven songs that he mixed, and I guess the band didn't like it, even though it says in the book they don't remember rejecting this, but this is the original mix. It's really guitar heavy, which is cool. It's different for sure. However, it's just strange listening to a different mix. It really is just kind of weird. Enjoyed it a lot, but when you've grown up listening to something, it's hard to like it more than the one you grew up loving, but it is quite guitar heavy, so Pete Townsend probably love this one. John Entwistle probably not so much because his bass is a little bit more buried in that one. But anyway, that's what that is. But there's a whole bunch of extra stuff on here. There's the singles mixes, there's alternative mixes for singles, there's the guide vocals Pete's got on here for some stuff. The cool thing is the Sister Disco has a little lost guitar part, a little solo that Pete plays in it that it was weird listening to that, just hearing all this extra stuff that I'd never heard before, but that was kind of cool listening to that. And then they got, Had Enough without the orchestra, Love Has Come Down without the orchestra, and then there's an early run through with Pete singing Who Are You on there, which I enjoyed that a lot, so that was a great way for me to start. And then it goes into all these demos and sessions and stuff like that. So you get to hear, and that was disc 2. Disc 3 has got all these demos and early run-throughs. It's got a ton of John Entwistle demos on here, and this album has the most stuff John Entwistle's ever contributed to an album for The Who. 3 out of the 9 songs on here are John Entwistle's, which is just really, really odd it's just different. He doesn't usually have that much going on, so it was kind of cool hearing not only that, but hearing Roger sing the songs, which, a lot of times we know that John ended up singing his own songs, but it was cool to have Roger actually sing the songs on this one. And so you get to hear all those demos there and a bunch of stuff that was not used. So that was cool. And there's an early version of Empty Glass that was intended to be used for the sound, but as we all know, ended up being the title track for, Pete's album. So a bunch of cool stuff on there. I'm kind of running through this kind of fast because I don't want this review to go on forever, but that's got a bunch of cool stuff on it. And then we get to a couple different ones where we got Shepperton 77, they're calling it, but it actually starts out with a live version of Who Are You, just early, I don't even know if it's like live, it must be a sound check or something, 1976 up in Toronto. That recording of that's a little rough, but it gets a little better after that, so don't be discouraged if you hear that and think the rest of it's going to be bad, but it's a bunch of tour rehearsals and studio rehearsing for Keith, mainly is what this was all about, because as we all know, Keith was having some rough time in his life, a lot of drugs and alcohol, mainly alcohol, I believe, but got out of shape, was having trouble playing. In fact, as we all may know, he didn't even play drums on Music Must Change, that Pete had to make some sound effects with bottles and footsteps and stuff to actually make that song work, because fortunately Keith couldn't even play it. So, and you listen to this, you can hear some of the stuff is a little rough on here, but it's got Keith singing a lot of the stuff on here. There's a lot of cover songs, Barbara Ann and Saw Her Standing There, stuff like that. A few different run-throughs of Who Are You, a couple of the blues cover songs and stuff in there. So interesting listening to that. And you can hear, just I don't even know how to explain it, just a little rough stuff. It was a little rough listening to that, just knowing how he was getting into shape listening to it. And then kind of the same thing for the disc number, what are we on now, 5? Shepperton 78, 79, where it's all kinds of tool rehearsals and stuff going on that one as well. This is when Kenny had joined and they were practicing, getting ready for going out on tour. And you can hear that there's a little bit of, it was funny listening to it. I'm like, ooh, that was a little off. So it's just kind of, especially in Who Are You, they got a little bit off in that one, but that's just what it is. Sometimes it's rough. We all know how, and it's only a rehearsal, but it's just kind of weird looking into the bones of things and how things grew and became more rock solid. And so it was an interesting kind of fly in the wall looking at type of stuff that was going on at that point in time, because I'm sure it had to be horrible for them, losing one of their mates and trying to carry on without him. I'm sure that was one of the most horrible things in the world. Some of us have dealt with that in our lives, so we all know what that's like, but that's what that disc is all about. And then the next two, which are the last two actual audio discs here, are live in 1979 with Kenny Jones playing drums. And for me, this is like what I was saying, this is where I came in to know the band, so it's a completely different change. It's, as we all know, Keith was like orchestral in the way he played drums. He had a very unique style playing drums. I don't know of anybody else that really plays drums like him. Kenny's more straightforward, so these songs played with a more straightforward feel. The songs became more, I don't want to say tight, but they became tight. It was always loose with Keith, but they were always spot on. They just kind of always knew where they were going to be. Even though it was loose feeling, especially with John and Pete, they just knew exactly where they were going with each other. They just somehow locked it all together. But it's had a loose feel, even though they're always spot on. With Kenny, it's just more straightforward, tight. It's just like, I don't want to say by the numbers, but it's just a more straightforward feel to the songs. Some people like that, some people didn't. I have enjoyed every era of the band. What are you going to do when somebody passes on you? Do you give it up or you keep it going? It had to be a tough choice for them to make, but they chose to keep on going. I'm glad they did. I actually like every era, like I said, and I did enjoy that era of the band as well. I know some people were a little bit critical of it, but I enjoyed that era of the band, so it was fun listening to that. And the last disc in here is the audio Blu-ray Steven Wilson mix and the Atmos mix, which I still do not have an Atmos setup. I don't even know anybody around here that does, so I have not had a chance to check that out. Don't know when I will. I have all these Atmos mixes of stuff that I don't know. I'm going to have to break down and probably get one of these setups one of these days, but it's there if I ever want to get a chance to listen to it. So anyway, that's my quick little rundown of it. It's kind of funny that they don't have any listing of the song track at all, except for the sleeve itself that everything comes in has like the listing. It's kind of a replica of the original album. It's got the album cover, and it's got the listing of the songs on the back, a little bit added stuff, notes, but there's no rundown of every track on there. When you open up the booklet, there's no listing of the tracks. In the sleeves, you have to pull the sleeves out of these little cardboard slots that they have and actually read what's on the back of them, which when you open it up and you look at it, it's kind of plain Jane. Kind of wish maybe they had the listing of the tracks on there. It's not, I'm nitpicking now, but it's kind of a little bit plain Jane. The thing I don't like about these cardboard ones is you got to be really careful when you take these out of here, because some of these weren't like, they have these little tabs in them where they lock them in, and you got to kind of peel them loose without ripping anything. So be forewarned if you get this. Some of these tabs were, for me, were a little bit not broken free yet, so be careful. I actually didn't rip anything, but I was very careful not to, so just be forewarned of that. There's some of these, I prefer the ones where you actually clip them in, they actually click in the center. Sometimes in shipping and stuff those things get broken, but when they're not broken, I prefer that to be the case. That's not what this is, but whatever. It's not the most expensive box set either, so maybe they save that type of stuff for the more expensive things, but I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of what the rundown of this is. I didn't keep it too long, it looks like, so that's good. But as I said, my favorite band, I actually love this. I had to sit down and just listen to it. I wanted to give it my full attention. It took me a while, so I apologize it's a few days late, but I had to get it out there. Even if people have already decided on this, whether they're going to or not going to get it, I had to do this anyway. Just my ode to the Who. They're my, a gateway, and they still are my favorite band. So anyway, I'm going to end it there until they maybe come out with the Who by Numbers box set. I'll be standing there waiting in line for that one too, or online, I guess, at this point in my life. But until then, we will see you.